Here we are again. Welcome to another installment of the URP Practical Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Wendell Jeffrey, and thanks for joining. I've been meeting some of you in the streets and the highways and byways, and you are talking about the program. Some of you are not sure. You're not sure where you're going to go or what you want to do. But what I'm glad for is that nobody has told me that we discuss anything negative on our programs. Every time we talk, all the persons who have been talking to us are telling us that we're making sense, what we're discussing, and so on. Some of you are asking that we share some more of what we plan to do, and we try to weave that into what we do, and so on. So thank you for your vote of confidence as we move forward with the United Republican Party's Practical Talk segment. Of course, you can join us on the World Wide Web, www.urp.com, or you can view us on YouTube at URP Guyana. And we have all the segments. If you've missed any, they're all there. Again, in the studio to continue our discussion. Those of you who were a part of last week's installment would see that we had a very heated, passionate discussion from the party leader, and he's back with us, and we're going to continue that discussion. Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you very much.
Doc, we were talking last week about the fact that the Granger administration is considering an installment, a financial installment into the 2018 budget to facilitate certain areas within the Afro-Guyanese, problem areas within the Afro-Guyanese situation and so on. And we were talking in between the time that you were concerned that the president might not be representing all Guyanese. Explain what you mean.
Well, if a president will go out there and talk about one set of people, obviously it's not representing all the Guyanese because you're only talking about one set of people. Now, a president is for all people. Guyana made up with 6 races. And you ought to treat all in equal manner. If those who vote for you or those who doesn't vote for you, and you call yourself a democratic movement or democratic government, you ought to treat everybody equally. Right? Because it is your responsibility. If I doesn't vote for you, it's my democratic right because I saw something in you make I didn't vote for you. But you shouldn't chastise me for that. You shouldn't put me on the cross and nail me down for that. You should be proud, and you should do better to win my confidence, instead of nailing me on the cross because I didn't vote for you. I vote for who I believe in and who I want to. But in Guyana, we have a different scenario. With both political parties, if they know you didn't vote for them, it's trouble. They ain't looking at you. But a government, a president, ought to look at everyone in an equal way. Either they vote for you or they didn't vote for you. You have to treat them the same way. Because that's what democracy, and that is why the URP are talking about a safe and modern Guyana. We're not talking about change anymore. We're talking about safe and modern Guyana. That people must have the right to do whatever, they want in Guyana.
Tell me, Doc, because you've been around, did we ever come close to doing what you talk about after our independence? Did we come close to moving away from race? Is there any leader? I mean, you've been around. Is there anybody that jumps out at you that came over as though they are interested in all Guyana?
No, never.
How close did Desmond Hoyt, President Hoyt, come? Did he come close?
He came to a part, when he opened banding and things like that. And he listened to the people. He listened to the businesses. right? But when I talk, when you mention about close, I'm looking at race, race system. Right now, I don't think none of them really come close.
So how do you think the current administration is doing with race relations?
I think it's very bad.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I will say 10.
That's how bad they're doing.
That's how bad they're doing. Because I am telling you this, and I wrote an article today saying that President Granger should step down because he's not ready to lead Guyana and the Guyanese people because of his behavior and the way that he goes about doing things.
But the president is in the Amerindian communities and he's giving out bicycles and books and boats and breakfast and stuff like that.
But,
so isn't he transcending race?
Are he doing that wholeheartedly? Are
you judging motives? Are you judging motives?
Well, I know the motive behind that. It's to win the people, just like you don't want to bail out the sugar industry. Because you know if you bail out them and put money in that area, that section of people wouldn't vote for you. So you try to go to areas where you can spend a couple dollars and try to attract people to vote for you.
But you talk about just now you talk about winning the people.
Yeah.
If the president continues to bail out Gaisuku, isn't he not likely to win those PPP supporters?
No. He wouldn't win this PPP support. He will never win the PPP support of those people. Because they're already bent. It's either they vote for the PPP or they vote for somebody else. They wouldn't vote for him. Especially him, what he's doing today.
So I'm trying to find out was the disconnect. What else if you were to be an advisor, right? You are an Indian. If you were to advise the Afro-Guyanese president now, what does he need to do to win the confidence of the large segment of Indo-Guyanese?
He need to go back what he preached on his political campaign, that they will do this and they will do that and they will do the other. He need to go and do those things. Do what you said you will do. Don't do opposite to what you said you will do. Right?
Can you give me an example of the coffee?
All right. For instance, let us talk about young to get job for young people. Right? He made a statement, government, the other day. You know about that too. He made a statement clearly that government job is not to get jobs for people. I never heard that in my whole entire life. I have traveled so much in the world. Right? Next thing, one more I give you. Rice farmer. Telling them they're going to give them some 9,000 or whatever they told them they will give them a bag for paddy. And when the election finished, he go out publicly and said, this is private enterprise. That you must not, you people have to deal with it. Rice farmer and factory worker has to deal with each other. Now that shows how little he knows. Because many of the factories have been screwing the farmer from day one. How you try devil in hell? Huh? Where are you going? So you have to understand your before you open your mouth and talk. And many things the president said, as soon as he opened his mouth, he put himself in bigger trouble. Many things he said in this country when he opened his mouth to say it. Because he's wrong. He is wrong in what he's saying. He is not right. People longing to trust him, but they can't trust him anymore. Because he's like you're having two tongues in what you're saying. You can't do that. As a leader, you can't do those things. Look, I am not in government, I am not in parliament. But if I go there and I tell somebody something, you bet your bottom dollar I'm getting it done. Huh? Look, I go 2 weeks ago in a meeting in the highway. And I saw these people clear out a place. I forget the area, what they call that area. And they want to put down a little building for learning sewing machine and so forth. And I see them and said, and they're wondering where they go get money for do this thing, where they go get thing. And I told them, I said, you know what? I have material home. I'll donate it to you guys. They sent the truck last Sunday, and they fill up a whole truckload. The truck can't take no more full. And it will build a bigger thing than what they proposed to build. Right? Because it's my word. My word is my honor. You know, there are so many things that we have been doing for people and nobody knows about it. What we're doing in Guyana. You know?
We have a problem, a big problem with unemployment in Guyana. It's a huge problem. We have two. One is underemployment, and Guyana is full of that. Underemployment is where you're working, but you can't meet your commitments. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't meet your financial commitments. That's underemployment. Then we have unemployment, where there's no work. What are some of the things, and I know there are many, but in the interest of time, can you articulate, can you tell us what it is that the URP plans to hit the ground running with as it pertains to job creation in Guyana?
The URP had many discussions with people overseas already. People can't wait to see that the URP go in government in Guyana. And I'll tell you this, when the URP get in government, you wouldn't have enough flight to bring back people home. And I'm not talking ordinary people. I am talking about people with money who will open industries, who will create employment for Guyana. Because we have right now, we have about 40% of the university graduate, I believe somewhere around there.
Doing what?
Don't have a job, getting jobs.
Yeah, we have a lot of, and
right?
then,
you
then
know,
40% of those who remain, because we have upwards of 70% of those graduates leave.
Yeah, because what happened, we are spending our money here to educate our people here, and we can't create job for them. You know, some of them working in grocery stores, some of them doing carpentry work, some of them kicking brick a road, you know, and we can't create job for them. So what we do, we take the country money, the taxpayers' money, educate these people, and can't provide jobs. So what they do, they jump on a flight and they go in a different one of the islands
and they develop somebody else.
Yeah, develop them the other people.
So let's talk again. You know? What do you talk about the fact that you are in contact with persons who will come back. What are some of the things that they're coming back to do by way of stimulating the economy? Because we don't have 1 million people. You know what I mean? There is no, I've lived in the United States. There is no city in the United States that is smaller than Guyana, right? I mean, that has
population.
That the population wise. So I know 1 million people is nobody to activate.
Well, you know what I see, Pastor, we'll have to import people, like how Canada and America
and Barbados and the Caribbean is
import people to come here and work with this when these people come here to invest in Guyana, because we don't have the people. You know, if you talk about anything in Guyana, you will hear Guyana government say we don't have the people, but you're not willing to import people.
Well, we don't have the factory. We don't have we don't have the entrepreneurial drive. We don't have enough things going on. You know what breaks my heart? And it's a very simple thing. When I walk around, I mean, you go to the hospital or you go downtown, you come out of Bounty or you come out of Fogarty's. You got all these taxi men. Some of them private hire cars, and they got the little umbrellas, they taxi. And you know what? Think about it for a moment. If we were creating jobs in this country, if we had industries, we were packaging stuff and manufacturing stuff. We were taking our rice and we were making rice cakes and rice flour, and we were taking our wood and we were making furniture, and we taking our bauxite and we smelting it, and those guys will drive the car to work, then jump in the car and drive back home.
Take taxi.
You understand? They would drive their own car, but because you don't have employment, you got all these guys, taxi. That alone, it speaks to the problem of unemployment that you have in your country. You understand?
See, before we go forward, Pastor, we're going backward. You know, last week I had an interview and Linden radio station, right? And when we have that interview, they're asking me about the URP and the business section and so forth. I even had a discussion with these what the business section they call them in
Commerce?
The commerce, in Linden, and they was pointing out some of the problem that they are facing with people. Everybody wants something, but what the URPM say? Look, we don't mind give you something, but we would not give you 100% something. You have to come up with at least 50% before we give you anything. Because if I give you 100%, you have no interest.
You take it for granted.
Right? If you come up with something, you have that kind of interest. And the commerce people say, you're quite right. They didn't thought about that. And I said, farmers, we went meeting, having farmer people. I said, look, in this community here, I want shovel, you want hoe, you want cutlass. See how much you all want. And raise half of the money and we put the next half.
One of the other problems that Guyana has been stigmatized with is a crime problem.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say too much because this is not really my program. This is the URP's program. But whenever I get a chance to talk, I tell people, and it might seem as though I'm splitting hairs or being rhetorical, but Guyana really don't have a crime problem. Guyana has a leadership problem. The criminals pattern their behavior from politicians. I talk with them. And the guys are figuring, look, if them guys could get away with stuff, we could get away with stuff. That's one of the things they justify. The other is that we have an academic problem. A lot of the guys are not academically inclined. We have also an unemployment problem. Now, if you can create a system where you could provide academic tutelage, you could provide vocational skill for these guys, you could reduce the rate at which Guyana's crime population is festering, right? A lot of these guys want to do something, but they're stigmatized and so on. And so if you could bring down the crime rate in Guyana, right? And it's something that has to be, you have to double barrel it because you have to bring the infrastructure that will create the jobs, at the same time work on the crime problem that you're having, right? But Guyana's crime problems could almost disappear if you have the correct management style.
Now, not only the crime problem can almost disappear, the race problem also can almost disappear.
Beautiful,
right?
Beautiful.
Because I tell you this, when I came here in 1987, and when we formed the PCD, Patriotic Coalition for Democracy, Chedi and us used to sit around on the table every week having meetings. Formalize strategy, how to remove the dictatorship PNC and what to do. And we talk about the Constitution was number one. To change the dictatorial Constitution, Chedi said yes. We'll change it. Number two, we talk about the police problem and the crimes. That we should raise the police pay to make them satisfied with what they are doing. What they are having. So they wouldn't take bribes out there. If you kept them take bribes, we lock them up. You only have to do that with a couple of them. I was telling somebody,
the example.
Somebody this morning too, that if in our government, if they can jail some of these people who do illegal thing, you will see how quick all of them will get them sense. Because they know you're serious. You're not making jokes. And the URP are saying this. Over and over we are saying, if you are our minister and you breach the principle and the conduct of the government, you go into jail. Especially if you steal, because you had become one of the lawmaker. And if you are the lawmaker, then you know the law. So your penalty should be double. Not as an ordinary man.
All right. The separation of powers thing and allow the executive to go to the judiciary. But I understand what you're saying. Doc, as it relates to agriculture, and I like to come back to agriculture, because if we get into processing, that alone, we're talking about employment, eh? If we get into processing, I went to Borby's, well, I was with you, you know what I'm talking about. And we stopped to have lunch, remember? The neighbor, thousands of pumpkin rotting.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Thousands of pumpkin. And when we ask the people, they say, look, even to get this pumpkin to town, you know, it's so cost prohibitive.
Well,
if we had a system, because it's not that they can get it to town, but by the time you gotta pay somebody to sell it and stuff like that, you know. But if we had a system where those people could take that pumpkin, or there was a vehicle that would pass and collect that thing, or we could can it and ship it around. You see what I mean? We got not that pumpkin, but you see. Go ahead.
Not only can you can they make pumpkin with ketchup too. Tomato, ketchup, all the mix up and make ketchup.
Okay.
What the URP are saying that every area and every region we should create industries that can employ those people in the region and build up those regions. People must not come from Essequibo to Georgetown or Region 1 to Georgetown to get a job. We must create these jobs and create everything here. So even in the region, the money had been spent back into the region. You ain't come here and spend in Region 4. You know, build up each one of you build up your own region. You know, and this is all these are.
And agriculture could be one of the catalysts.
No, but agriculture has to be the most important thing, because in any country, look, when you move away from agriculture, you're getting people to go back to agriculture. You know?
No.
Like look, sir, Trinidad right now had that problem.
They got a big problem.
Right? The oil industry going down, people move away from agriculture and they leave it. URP are saying, hey, hold it right here. Agriculture is our first priority in Guyana. Don't look at the oil. You know? Look at agriculture. Right? The oil is something backsis to us if it come true. Right? But we must focus on agriculture. That's why we are talking about build back the rice industry, build back the sugar industry, bring additional crop like aloe vera, like hemp, like soya, you know, and all these kind of things.
Because if we you see, and people hear agriculture, especially, and I'm Afro, ethnicity, and we have not, as a race, we have not gotten into agriculture. Well, of course, we could always rationalize that the Indian people grew up in it, and it was strange to us. However, I have been going around the country, and agriculture today is not the agriculture of yesteryear. I mean, the technologies that they have now is no more fork and shovel and cutlass, and you understand?
It's simple. It's simple.
The technology that they have.
But you have a lot of blacks in agriculture.
Yeah, I know.
Too, right now.
I know.
Especially those blacks who live amongst the Indian section.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It has to do with orientation, right?
So it has, and people, if we can able to, that's what I'm saying, if we can able to muster our people together, it will be a better life for every human being in Guyana.
We need to get back, and it was a Bornum thing, and I know a lot of people don't like the feed, clothe, and house the nation. The world, particularly the Caribbean, is waiting on us. I've gone to some Caribbean countries, and I have asked about the possibilities of these folks importing fruits and vegetables from Guyana. And they are willing. Most of these Caribbean countries get their stuff out of Miami and California. They're willing to import from Guyana, but we don't have the quantity, we don't have the organization, we don't have the shipping facilities. You understand? And they say they can't depend. None of the businessmen told me when I went overseas, they said, look, we tried to get stuff out of Guyana, but this month, they send stuff. Next month is the excuse.
Yeah, because our government hadn't trained our people. In the last administration, this administration, we have to train people to do mass production. So at all times,
on a rotation.
All time you're reaping things. Every week, if you're planting tomato, plant 50 acre this week, 50 acre next week, you know, keep on. So you always will have reaping, because a businessman will not buy your product for a one shot, because when his customers come next week, he ain't got nothing. Right?
And the technology, Doc, because as we go around, these guys right now, they have the technology. These guys can tell you this tomato tree is going to bear how much tomatoes.
Definitely.
They can tell you when it's going to bud. It's beautiful. So I'm saying the technology, we have the technology in place. It's just that we
are not organized.
We're not organized, and we don't have the catalyst. And so, like you, I am excited about where Guyana will be in the near future, given the right political climate and the right political administration.
And let me tell you one further thing. When Guyana changed, this whole Caribbean changed. Guyana, the whole Caribbean actually look at Guyana. And if we can change, you will see the whole Caribbean will change.
You know,
the whole CARICOM will change.
I want to say this here because I'm agreeing with you. In Barbados, for instance, Barbados population is funded, the GDP to a large extent is funded by tourism. Guyana has more touristic, if there's a word, appeal 100 times more than Barbados. We got birds and fish and insects and reptiles and waterfalls.
And look at Barbados. Barbados can fit in one of our islands called Hag Island.
500 times into Guyana.
Right? No, in the island.
I know, but I'm telling you, when you do the division, Barbados is 166 square miles. And when you divide it by 83,000, it is exactly 500 times.
Look how many millions of people England got.
Yeah.
And England is smaller than Guyana.
Correct.
England can fit in the whole of Guyana.
Correct. So I'm saying, if you could employ, watch it now, take Barbados, if you could employ so many people in the tourism sector, imagine if you were to market Guyana as a tourist destination, how many people immediately comes off the bread line? You see?
But you cannot market Guyana the tourism area because of its crimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and it's a catch-22. The government has got to come up, and I'm afraid that, and I'm not afraid, I'm saying that there is a system that I have offered the last government and this government to reduce crime and recidivism that they have not yet implemented.
Well, you see, you are not in the circle.
No, I'm not in the circle.
So how you get it done?
Yeah, but we know, and we could reduce crime. Like I said, Guyana got 2,500 people locked up. There's not nobody, and 80% of them are repeat offenders. So if you could reduce the rate at which you're going to prison, you reduce the crime, right? But Doc, may I be completely out of time? Take 2 minutes and say something, Doc. 2 seconds.
I would like to appeal to all of you listeners and who are listening to us and looking at us, that please look at us. Look at us for a safe and modern Guyana. I thank you. God bless you.
We completely out of time. Same station. Next week, God bless you real good. Stay peaceful. Bye-bye.